Hello everybody and welcome to the Thursday vlog. Cue music. That's my jingle. I have to make a jingle. Yes, today is Thursday, the 7th of May. That means I am 5 months into my 54th year. 5 months. May is the 5th. 7th of May. 5th month. 7th of May. And it's 2:30. Last night I uploaded my very first audio type vlog with the little self-made thumbnail. I was quite pleased with it. And right now I'm going through all my stuff to try and find it, because the earliest audio I could find for this year was January the 20th, and I'm curious to see if there's anything earlier than that, because I'm just doing the audio of 2020. I'm not going back any further than that. It would be too much stuff to go through. I was looking through some of the expansion pack with the last 10 years in it, and so much stuff in 2018 that I put in there, not very well organized either. It's just like just lots and lots of stuff between the stuff from the camera, stuff from the little Mobius camera, stuff from the other camera that you put on the glasses, stuff from the drone, it's a very crowded kind of year with things, and I don't know, maybe 1,000 photographs over the last couple of years of me and Flo. Huge percent of stuff in the Connemara, really. Anyway, I don't really want to go back to that stuff. I want to stick to 2020. Be able to put the expansion pack away for a while, because I've been going through that an awful lot. I'm actually familiarized myself with so much stuff, and there is a lot of stuff on that. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it, and I'm gonna, if the 20th of January is the date that I started, and it does seem to be, it was the date I was testing the lapel mic on the Lenny, so it may well be that was the first of these audios. But I mean, on this device at the moment I've got 60 different little entries, potentially 60 uploads, so I'm not going to be short of uploading things. I've got enough material to keep me going. And that may satisfy some kind of expressional itch that I seem to be having. Some sense of cataloguing things, some sense of putting things in some kind of tidy order, chronological order on this Life YouTube site, and then at least it's there for me if I wanted to. There'll be lots of stuff there I won't really know. I won't remember any of it, so it'll just be in the future, I guess, a case of just turning on one of those audio videos, and it'll be, after a year or two, it'll be news to me as well, because it's amazing how quickly you forget the details of the year 2020 in the lockdown. 7th of May. 8, 9, 10, yeah, they say next Monday then things are going to start reopening a little bit. Oh, I forgot to bring my flask. It's a different thought there. I forgot to bring my flask. Things will be reopening Monday. Not for us yet. It's going to be difficult going back to work. Even for me, it's been, it's actually a bit like one of those summer breaks, you know, when you were at school. It's a bit tough to go back. And it's going to be really tough for Flo, because she just doesn't like the job anyway. I hope she's in good form when that morning comes, and I hope when she gets there and a couple of familiar faces come in to see her, she realizes that it's not such a bad thing. I kind of banged on yesterday about the money aspect. Hey, it's just for the money, it's just for the money. But I hope that that day catches her in good form. Me, I don't mind having a bit more time off, but I think I'll get quite quickly back into that swing of things, because it really is just a few hours in the morning. I mean, you know, you get there at 11, 12, 1, 2, I mean, it's just like 3 hours in the morning. And then in the evening, I mean, you know, maybe 2.5 hours some of the time. So it's not really, it's not a huge change, bizarrely, to my routine anyway. It's not a huge change. If we finish at 2, I still have that long walk home. I have the long walk with Tuco. So the afternoons will be the same to me. It just means I get up earlier and earlier. And in the evening, of course, well, I go to bed at 2 o'clock instead of 4. But it doesn't change too much. Now I'm going to do something I don't very often do. And that is take account, perhaps, of the fact that the reason I don't have a problem going back to work, and the reason I don't have too much of a problem that's part of my existing in terms of my job in the Connemara, and also the reason I can get so much fun out of things that would be seen as quite childish, like my own radio station and putting up my own thumbnail to my audio thing and getting a kick out. I'm gonna take stock of basically the strengths that I've developed in me. We don't very often do an inventory of our good developments. Our good developments over the years. Since I stopped drinking, obviously, I've developed, I think, quite a strong, in ways, a strong psychology. And in a general way, I can amuse myself with the little creative things I do. In general, my mood is pretty good more often than not. At least it's not down so much that it's kind of cripplingly debilitating, you know. It might be the case that I'm not kind of soaring in the heights with music and stuff very often, but it's also the case that I'm not wallowing in the swamp as much as I used to. So I think it's good sometimes to just, it's a good exercise for anybody to take a stock of yourself and say, well, you know, I'm certainly much improved in this area and that area. And me and Flo as a couple, I think we're always kind of learning. I'd like to think that we're always advancing, probably got to do with age as well, on finding some kind of solution to long things. Like I had that thought yesterday that maybe the day that we break the vicious circle of me and her and her unhappiness with the Connemara and wanting to do stuff but not knowing what to do, and then eventually turning it around, rightfully so, to be honest, a lot of the time to me, and what it's like to be kind of with, in a way, a kind of dead weight, someone who just doesn't have the idea. If she needs maybe someone to give her the idea, or maybe to push both of us in a future, to a future project, but I just don't have anything like that. But I was saying, maybe the day we break that part of the circle and we start to both relax and accept each other and our situations, maybe that's the day that somebody comes along, buys the Connemara, that someone else comes along and says, you know, Eddie, you should try this job, it'd be perfect for you, and I find something that is perfect for me. Because I do believe in magic, and so I do believe anything can happen. That kind of also means that, well, we don't want to get negative in this, because I'm trying to be positive, but you know, no one knows the future. It's also maybe a helpful exercise to take each day as it comes and be aware that, you know, one day at a time, and well, nobody knows for sure how many days they have left. We all go by the grace of something, and so it's good to be thankful for that as well. And that kind of a thought can actually give a person strength and courage in saying, well, I'm going to go and apply for this other job, and yeah, honestly, it's nothing. I'm just glad to be alive, and I'm old enough to take whatever happens with this new job. I'm not a kid anymore. I can try stuff out. If I don't like it, I should be able to be like that. So anyway, that's what I thought. Maybe the day that we sort out that kind of, it's a circular thing, and it's something that's annoying with both of us. It's a dynamic that doesn't seem to go anywhere. Maybe when that's done, we'll find that our lives change anyway, for the best, hopefully. So yeah, taking stock of, you know, I think I've done a lot of work on myself and my imagination, and that kind of keeping in touch with the child element within me, letting my imagination carry on and doing all the stupid things I did when I was a kid. I think it helps me. So yeah, don't know what else to say about that, to be honest. I think I lost my train of thought somewhere along the way. Anyway, so yesterday, what did I do yesterday? I didn't play Red Dead Redemption, because the day went quite quickly, and I actually spent a lot of time going through my Lenny and Wico phone to try and find some old audio and stuff. That kind of kept me going most of the night, and I spent some time on the Transport Fever. Got my 2 towns close to the 900 each. The thing about the game now is I realize, because my supply lines are going very well, and I'm up at like 90% most of the time in each thing, but my factories are at 100% almost in terms of their output. And so I began thinking, well, if the towns kept growing, let's say by a few more hundred, and if that, instead of wanting 300 units of something, it goes up to 400 or 500, I'm not sure my factories would be able to supply all that amount, because I think I'm pretty much flat out with some of them, you know, at the moment. I don't think I can, let's say, 250 maybe. It's kind of a limit for each factory. I also found out what happens if you have a problem with the supply chain. I was building new streets. Somehow all my trucks started to get stuck in a bottleneck. And so for a few minutes, which is like a few years in the game time, I wasn't sending any tools to my town, the one in the south. And I was surprised at just how quick things just started going backward in the town. I dropped from 900 to around 700 in a few minutes. It really, really goes fast. Once you stop those supply chains, your town it drops rapidly. And that's interesting. I didn't really know that. I wasn't able to put in any boats or ferries from one town to the next because unfortunately one of my towns is kind of on it's like a cliff face, and there's just no way of getting a boat in and out. There's nowhere to bring the road down. Also my trains seem to be maybe they're going quicker, and so there doesn't seem to be any congestion in the railway station. I do have lots of buses. I mean, I've got 40 buses on, I think, not just one, maybe 2 or 3 lines. I've got hundreds of buses. And what I was most proud of yesterday was I put in a motorway. A one-way, 3 lanes one way going in one direction and 3 lanes going the other direction one way. So it's like, yeah, a motorway going from one town to the other. I'm pretty pleased with that. So far the traffic's okay, but again, another problem I realise is that I have hundreds of trucks going through the towns. I mean, really, it's again something I may be able to manage now that I've only got two towns, is that perhaps I could find a way, instead of driving because I like about 35 trucks on this line, instead of driving them right through the town, perhaps I could drive around the town and then come from the back and just drop the stuff off at the depot somewhere there. That's something I might try and do tonight. Do that in both towns, because there is only one line of trucks going in and out of the towns, on both towns, delivering the stuff. Actually no, there's 2. There's one delivering tools and there's one delivering the building materials. So if I could get both, the only problem there is I don't know if that will work, because if you want to get to all the different industries and all the commercial buildings, I'm not sure if you can put the depot kind of outside the town. You may need to put it right smack in the middle. But it's still interesting. I got as far as 1930 something. Money wise everything's fine, and one of the great things is I've been able to upgrade all the traffic in all the lines pretty much with every new vehicle that comes along. So that's something you just couldn't do if you had 5 towns and 10 industries to keep an eye on. I'm just looking at the little vantage point here, the little part where the fish are, the pond. I forgot the word pond. It's funny, sometimes my mind forgets common words. So it's still interesting, the game, because I know things tend to take off. At least I've known in the other games I've played. When you get up to 1950 and 60, you can have a bit of a growth in the population. So I'm curious to see what happens this time round. And then I may be able to, when I get to the big trucks, I may be able to get rid of the lines that have like 40 trucks on them and replace them with, less than half as much. don't know if I could. It may even be possible at some point to put in some more rail and see if that makes it easier and better when transporting, let's say, the logs to the sawmill, or the stone from the quarry to the building material factory. I don't know if that would be possible. And again, I've kind of found out one train going up and down is just not very effective. You need at least two trains going up and back to keep the place that's being delivered, to keep it full. And at the moment it is working out quite well with the vehicles, so maybe it could be a disaster to change to trains. So yeah, I'm still enjoying that. And what else? Looking forward to trying to upload some of these little audio files. Maybe one or two every day would allow me to catch up at some point in the future. I just want the channel filled with all these little thumbnails that I'm going to draw up, and this kind of random dialogue. I just like the notion of it. It's like my own way of filing away these things. It's putting them somewhere where they're accessible. So if I ever need to just listen to this stuff in the future, I won't have to be kind of going through expansion packs or storage devices trying to find this or that. I'll have them all just I'll be able to swipe up and see all the dates in a line. It's just a sense of organization I think appeals to me. Yes. Flo has gone to do the shopping. Did I say that already? She has gone to Carrefour Labrian because we've kind of run out of other things. I think I said before, when Flo does the shopping, I have flashbacks to my mother doing the shopping in Tesco back in 1982. Pretty confident of the date. And I'd be maybe playing tennis against the wall or something. Let's say it was summer. I'd be off school. I just have some memories of this. Sometimes I'd go with her to do the shopping, and sometimes I'd just wait for her to come back, and then I'd help lift all the stuff in from the car. And I guess as a 14-year-old, you've got a very good appetite. So all the stuff came in. I remember one specific thing that my mother used to get was donuts. She used to have these lovely little jam donuts in Tesco that we used to get. I remember opening the boot of the car. I think it was the red car, and helping take all the bags out. Plastic bags. Yeah, and that just comes to mind now because of Flo doing the shopping. Not that it's nothing to do with the Flo being a mother figure. It's just looking forward to someone coming back with a lot of shopping. The wind is getting up. It's a warm wind. These are summer days. Nice few clouds out as well to give some shelter. And we're both in very good form today. I've never been able to figure out the cycle of good and bad form. It'd be useful to know that You know, you're always in good form for 2 weeks, and then Flo and you are in bad form for a week. I've never been able to research that. But at the moment, we were both kind of dancing in the kitchen this morning, listening to my stuff I put on my other radio. I'm glad I've got this game at Transport Fever. I haven't thought about this, but I really have trouble finding anything on YouTube lately. I did find a nice documentary yesterday about a computer program, DeepMind, from 2016, and it took on a master of this Chinese game, and this master's in South Korea, a game called Go, which is got these red and black pebbles that you put on this board. Anyway, that was the computer. It's like AI that can learn for itself, and it was able to beat this guy. That was interesting. But in general, I don't find anything much on YouTube lately. The algorithm, I think maybe the thing is that because the algorithm keeps recommending things I don't want to watch, and then sometimes out of desperation I do click on one or two things just to see, well, maybe this is good, and they're not good. But when you click on something, it's forcing the algorithm. So YouTube thinks, well, this guy keeps clicking on this stuff, so I'm going to keep sending him the same. And you end up getting just a page of recommendations that you don't want to watch any of them. And if you've got no idea what to search for, well, all of a sudden this window onto the world of entertainment and just about everything is difficult to navigate, because you really need your own creative input into that. For that to work, you really need to have something to type in to the search bar. I think you just can't expect the algorithm to baby-sit you and kind of come up with perfect ideas. It does occasionally. That documentary is an example. I didn't search that, it just came up and I thought, well, that's something I'm interested in. And anyway, because of the lack of stuff on YouTube, or rather the lack of me being creative, this Transport Fever has been it's been a fantastic help over the last few weeks. I've had it now since March, and it has given me an awful lot of it's distracted me for many hours, and it's got this thing I keep going on about. It's got this fantastic replayability, and it's kept me going many nights. Also, I've got some kind of a rhythm going in Red Dead Redemption, which has been good. All the little things in this life for me, must sound kind of small, maybe, if you're listening to this. Wow, it's kind of not a lot on that guy's mind, huh? And even when I listen back to myself at night, I think the same. I think, wow, there's not a lot going on there. You know, it's just this guy who seems to get slightly obsessed and irritated by real trivia, and he's a guy whose life is very small in terms of not his life, because you can't really judge that from someone talking, their inner life, you know, but in terms of his interests and what he does, it seems small. But then again, what does anybody else do? I know if you've got children and you've got this job where you're the chief executive of a company, and you've got like 5 100 employees, you've got a lot of stuff to do. Your schedule is busy. I know mine is non-existent. I do what I want. But when it comes to amusing ourselves or distracting ourselves, well, I'm not sure I'm that different from anybody else. Everybody's got a few interests and a few things that they, what they would call their way of relaxing at the end of the day. I would call it a nice distraction, an activity that just hits the proper spot between being too difficult and too easy, something that's just pleasant. How long have I been talking? 31 minutes. This walk has taken 31 minutes. A lot of these vlogs are going to be between 30 and 40 minutes. I guess that's the length of this walk. Depending on whether I stop off somewhere and sit down. But this one, just a pretty walk, just all the way without really stopping anywhere. That's about 30 minutes. Anyhow, I'm getting back toward the mailbox, and we'll be coming to the end of this vlog for this Thursday the 7th of May. Might be kind of boring to just be repeating the same stuff, but to me, in a sense, no change is good. As they say, no news is good news. And I'm quite happy with the way things are. It's better to be just talking about these things than to have some drama to be going over. Anyway, I'm going to switch off now and go back and see Tuco.